The nine of clubs is torn into 4 pieces. Those 4 pieces are placed directly in the participant's hand. Before the participant has even covered those pieces, the playing card is completely restored. I am Daniel Madison. This is RIP. Yes, I can repeat myself. I would like 52 sausages delivered directly to me, please. Hello? Hello? Charlie, you hung up on me. After thoroughly shuffling the playing cards, the magician invites his participant to select a playing card. The participant selects the 9 of clubs. The magician takes the 9 of clubs and folds it twice. He then rips that playing card down the creases so that he now has 4 pieces of the same 9 of clubs. He takes that ripped playing card and places it directly into the participant's open hand. He then invites the participant to cover the torn playing card with their other hand, and in that very moment the deception is achieved. The participant, Susan Sausage, is invited to inspect the torn playing card, where she discovers that the playing card is now fully, completely restored. Everything can be instantly and thoroughly examined. Susan Sausage is invited to react accordingly. Why does she always do that, Charlie? I am Daniel Madison, and this is the best torn and restored trick ever. This is RIP. Charlie. Hi Charlie. Charlie, this is one of those videos that's gonna make people say, oh my god, I can't believe Madison's giving this one away for free. Or, oh my lord, look at the size of Madison's sausage. It's been a long time coming, Charlie, and it's finally time to teach. Alright, you tear the 9 of clubs into 4 pieces. You take those 4 pieces and you put them directly into Susan Sausage's hand. Before she has even covered them up with her other hand, the trick has already been done, and that 9 of clubs is fully, completely restored. Charlie, strap yourself in and warm up your sausage. I'm Daddy Madison. You're a very good boy, and this is RIP. I am Daniel Madison. Welcome back. Thanks for being here. Thank Charlie Madison and I really appreciate choosing to spend a bit more time with us today. Boy, oh boy, this is a dope video. You're gonna love this one. This one is been in my repertoire for such a long time, and I've improved it dramatically over the years. Now in this video I'm going to teach you everything that I know about an effect called RIP. R-I-P, rest in pieces. The magician takes a playing card, he tears it once, he tears it twice, so that we have 4 pieces of one single playing card. He takes those 4 pieces and places them directly into the open hand of the participant. He invites her to put her other hand on top. Before her hands have even closed, the trick is already complete, and the magician has got away with it. I'm not even kidding. At that point, before Susan even closes her hand, the trick is done, the switch has been made, and the playing card is fully restored. All that's left to do is the performance in convincing Susan at that point that those 4 pieces are still separate. Then you can make the magic happen. She opens her hand and looks, and the card is fully restored. This is as good as it gets. This is what real magic would feel like. You're gonna need some tools for this one. You're gonna need double-sided sticky tape, scissors, extra playing cards. Get all that ready. I'll see you after this. I'm Daddy Madison, and this is RIP.
Danny, is it your I knew you'd have my sausage. I've been looking for that all morning.
So, in order to achieve RIP RIP, this is everything that we need. I have 2 decks of playing cards now. When I'm teaching you this, you will realize that we don't necessarily need 2 decks of playing cards, but it will present itself when the time comes. Why I like to use 2 decks of playing cards. Double-sided sticky tape is vital. You don't need the sausage, that's just gratuitous. We do need some skizzers. And this is the important thing. This is a bunch of, how you say it, neodymium, nidodadon, I don't know how you say it, but these are really thin magnets, really thin ones. I'll find these online and I'll leave a link to them in this video description so you can pick some of these up. This is how the magic happens. Yes, some magic does use magnets. I think this is the only trick I ever do that uses magnets, and it's worth it. Now, torn and restored idea, obviously, we're gonna tear the card up, put it in Susan's hand. By the time she covers her hands, that card has fully restored, it's fully healed. And it's thanks to magnets that allows that to happen. Don't get ahead of yourself, Madison, you're not even explained anything yet. Start by opening the playing cards. We're gonna use, see if you can guess which playing card I'm going to use. In all my playing cards, I always print extra playing cards. I always print duplicates. So when you open these playing cards, these are the Charlie Madison playing cards. Sorry, these are sold out, but all of my playing cards do this. Jokers, and I always print extra cards for the purposes of magic. So in this deck, I have an extra King of Diamonds and an extra 9 of Clubs. For this trick, this comes in amazingly well. So I'll put this deck aside for now, the extra deck. And we'll keep the jokers because you can use them too for this trick. In fact, we are going to use them for this trick. So the 9 of Clubs is going to be our card. This is going to be the card that is selected, that is torn up. This is the playing card that's going to be restored. Now, the restored card itself. Let's begin with the restored card itself, which is this very playing card. We're going to start by folding this playing card in half. And I just realized my focus might be off on the main camera. See if we can fix it, Madison. There we go. So I'm going to fold this card in half, very simply half down the middle. And then fold it once again. Important thing to note here is that I didn't fold it completely straight. This is very important. This is vital information. I've done this on purpose so that you can see the corners, so that it makes this piece, this complete piece, a little bit bigger than it would be if we did it perfectly. This hides a lot of the deception. Now, this piece, one thing to notice, there is a little bit of a bitch with this. Am I allowed to say that word on the tube? Bitch. We'll find out. So, the bitch of this playing card is, if I say B swear word, that's not bitch, isn't it? Which I know I can't say. We need this card to be completely squashed, because when you put it in your hand, it does this. It tilts, and this can cause a problem for our performance, and we need to get rid of that tilt. There aren't many ways to do this. I've played with this for a long time, for many years, and what I've figured out is you just have to kind of bend it in a really weird way, so there's the bend here is more round than anything else. Round than bent. Now once it's round like this, once it's rounded, then if we squash it a little bit, then we can cause it to have more of a flat surface. But also, if you want to keep this restored card underneath something heavy overnight, I like to keep it underneath my sausage overnight, then by the time you get to it the next day, it's going to be completely flat, and it's going to stay that way when we fold it. Now, for the main performance of this trick, for the performance that I love to do, that I've adapted to and perform rather than actually tearing it up every time, what I like to do, I like to present the 4 torn pieces and say, what can you see here? And they say, well, it's a torn up playing card. exactly, hold your hand out, and we go from there. So we cut out so much of the work by just presenting a torn playing card. We'll go over the performance of that soon, because it is justified in a very good way, the way that I perform it, and it is performed in a very justified way. Am I saying it right? I think so. But I'm getting ahead of myself once again. So once we've got this piece, we're gonna leave it underneath something heavy. I'll put it underneath this deck for now. That is the restored piece that we're gonna end up with. Now we need to make the gimmick itself. And the gimmick itself is made from the other 9 of clubs. So the other 9 of clubs in this deck, this is why you might need 2 decks if you don't have duplicates. Maybe you've got an old deck laying around where you can, 1 second. No, that's just not good enough, I'm afraid. Nah, listen, it's either 52 sausages or none whatsoever. So if you can't deliver 52 sausages on time, then I'm not going to use you in the future, do you understand? Alright, thank you. Alright, bye mum. So, back to the restore playing card. So the torn up playing card is, this is why you're going to need 2 decks. Maybe you've got some playing cards lying around, some spare playing cards. But we're going to use jokers too. And we're going to start with the most obvious part, which is tearing, ripping the 9 of clubs. Now we want to do this as perfectly as we can. Like, the lines need to be quite perfect, and this will present itself. The reason for this will present itself very shortly. So we're going to start by folding the playing card in half once. And we're not going to do what you might expect. We're not going to fold it again. We're going to just leave it like this for now. Fold it over a few times so that you really make the playing card weak in the middle. Weak at the knees, like Susan Sausage when I blow her a kiss. So now we're going to tear it. If you watch how I'm tearing, I'm going backwards and then forwards. This is because I want to create a frayed edge. Frayed. I'm not scared of it, but I want to make a frayed edge. Ha! Like so. So it looks like it's torn. It looks like it is what it is. So now we're going to do the same thing with each half. We're going to fold it inside. There we go. So now we have 4 pieces. Now, only one of these pieces is gonna be gimmicked. Only one of them. And it needs to be the biggest of the index corners. So get the both index corners and figure out which one's the biggest. One of them will be slightly bigger than the other. Mine is this one. So put the other 3 pieces aside for now. And now we're gonna make a gimmick out of this corner. This is where the magnet comes in. This is where all the other goods come in. So we're gonna start by lining the back of this playing card with double-sided sticky tape. So I'm gonna put 3 layers of this on. Or let's do 2. Let's just do 2 so I can show you exactly how I do it. We don't want to put too much tape on. That could cause us problems. So there we go. So I have the double-sided sticky tape is now on the back of this playing card, but I'm not gonna peel it off yet. I'm not gonna peel the paper off. I'm gonna leave it like this. This is when we're gonna use the extra playing card. This is where we're gonna use a joker. So take a joker. It doesn't matter what the face is. It doesn't have to be a joker. It could be any other playing card, because we're gonna hide a corner of this behind this piece. So I'm gonna do a bit of a speed up, a bit of a time lapse thing so that I don't waste too much of your time. Basically, you can rip this into 4 pieces the same way that you did with the 9, like this. Like this. So the reason I ripped this into 4 pieces as well, I might as well just ripped half and then ripped that in half and kept these 2 together, but no, I want to find the perfect corner that matches the size of our 9 of clubs the most. And obviously it needs to be the back of this joker is going to be seen. So the back of the joker is going to be seen. So we need to get one of the matching corners, which will be the opposite side of the index, and we're going to see which one lines up perfectly and looks the most uniform. It looks like it could be one playing card. So this one looks pretty good. So the front of this 9, and then the back you see the Joker, and these are actually a pretty good size, very close in size. So I'm going to use this one without even checking the other ones. I'm fairly confident we can get rid of these other 3 pieces. We don't need them anymore, and we don't need the Joker. Now, instead of just sticking it and sticking the magnet inside, which is what we're going to do, I'm going to put 2 more pieces of double-sided sticky tape to the back, or to the face of the Joker, of the corner Joker. So get 2 more pieces of sticky tape, one here, put them in the same places, put them the other way. It doesn't really matter as long as they're stuck to the face. I'm going to put 2 exactly the same as I did with the 9. So there we go. The Joker, the corner of the Joker now has double-sided sticky tape on the face, and I'm gonna start by peeling the 9. Now this is important, don't just go for it. This is important that you listen to what I'm saying now. Peel the back of the sticky tape on the 9 of clubs, on the actual card piece, and then put that piece on the table, obviously face down, so the sticky tape is facing up. It needs to be on a flat surface, and I'll tell you why in a second. Okay, my piece is off. Now I want to keep this piece as flat as possible, and I don't want to cause any bends, so I'm going to put it face down on the table like this, so the sticky tape is looking right at me. Now I'm going to take one of these magnets, one of these little magnets. I have a few of them, I only need one. And then I'm going to stick it, or I'm going to drop it right in the middle of this card, right in the very middle. Now it didn't land in the middle, but I can move it, it's okay. Right, so that piece is now stuck to sticky tape in the middle. We now have a neodymium magnet in the middle. Let's just call it a neo magnet. So the neo magnet is stuck to the middle, right in the middle. Now I'm going to peel off the sticky tape from the Joker. And again, this is an important moment, so don't rush ahead. If you're following along, then thanks. Right, this is quite an important moment. We're gonna pick up the 9 of clubs from the table so that we can line up the Joker against the back of it. We want to do this very carefully because that double sticky tape, we've only got one chance at this. We're gonna get it perfectly lined. It has to be perfect. It really does have to be perfect. If you watch how I'm doing it, I'm kind of just doing this instinctively, intuitively, should I say. They have to be perfectly lined, but I'm not gonna add pressure yet. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now bear in mind, I'm not adding any pressure yet. Don't add any pressure yet. So you can see there's no pressure, the gaps are still there. Now I need to put this down so the 9 of clubs is on the surface. Now when I press on the back, add pressure to the back, the circle created by the magnet isn't going to push through the face of the 9 of clubs. It's not going to push through the face. This is a very important thing to note. It might push through the back. It probably will. You'll probably see a bit of a circle mark on the back, but I don't mind because it's where I want it to be. It's on the back, and the back is going to be hidden, or all the moments of deception, the back of this card won't be seen. It doesn't matter if it's flashed because you're allowed to look at the back, but we're never going to openly say, oh, look at this, look here. We're never going to do that. Whereas the face, you're going to see this index quite a lot, and we don't want a weird circle indentation on there. So that's why we do it like this. If we keep the 9 on the face and then gently press towards the edges like this, we can kind of almost do this so that the circle mark doesn't show through, right? So we need to add pressure around the sides now. And if you notice, I'm doing a pretty good job of hiding that circle from leaving any dents on there. Now, if I hold it in a certain light, you can actually see that magnet showing through. We know it's there because we just built it, but this would be otherwise undetectable. You can't detect this. This is now the rip gimmick. This is the magic piece that's going to make everything possible. Now, when you're handling this and when you're carrying it around and when you're using it, eventually it's going to leave that circle magnet, it's going to press through. But because of the way that we constructed it, the card on the back piece was stretched and was folded, so if anywhere, that circle's only going to show up on the back. Now, over time, it might start poking through the front and showing through the front, but at that point, you just build another one. And also, after a few performances, after maybe 10 performances, I don't know, the cards are going to wear out and you're going to need to make new ones anyway. And as you can see, even though I took my sweet ass time making this to show you how it's done, you can do this really quick. You can build this really quick. And why not build quite a few of these all at once while you're going? Why not do that? So I've been meaning to make one of these for a few weeks now, so I thought that's why we're here on film. So now I'm going to use this for a few weeks, and if I can, when we go out, I'll get some live performances and show you exactly how I like to do it. We're going to do that now anyway. Before we move on, before we get to the next, I'm going to change the camera angle so we can talk about performance and execution. I want to show you the principal idea, what happens and how it happens. So the whole point of this, the whole idea is that this is going to be the carry piece, right? This is going to carry the rest of these pieces, and it's going to carry them away when you steal them. So, and the next point actually that we need, in fact, I know I'm starting to blabber on now, but I'm going to change the camera angle at this moment because we need to talk about one more thing. We need another magnet that's going to take away those pieces. And there are a few different options as to how you're going to do that and where that magnet's going to be. So let's move camera angle and I'll show you how I like to do it. So the principle behind this, the reason why it works, the reason why the restoration, why the completion of this effect works in their hands before they even know anything's happened is all down to the magnets. Now there's one magnet in the gimmick that's going to help us take away the playing cards. There needs to be another magnet on our person that takes away those torn playing cards. We have to take them away somehow, and we do it with a magnet. Now for me, many times I've used a raven. I don't want to be that guy who gives away the secret of the raven. I don't want to do that. But for anybody watching who's interested in using a raven for this, if you don't know what raven is, just do a quick Google search. I'm sure some punk on YouTube is teaching you how to make one too. Personally, I make my own. I never buy them because, and that's not to be disrespectful or not to support the person who makes the raven or the people who make them. I make my own version much smaller, much more convenient for me. So I make my own. So once you know how it works, once you've seen it, you'll be able to make one yourself, I think. Otherwise, when I'm not in a position to use a raven, now my raven goes up and down my sleeve. Now I don't always wear sleeves. So I have to thank Ricky J, rest in peace, and Michael Weber for putting this idea in my head. The idea of playing with social compliance and using a plaster. On first thought, a lot of people will think, that's a terrible idea. It's not. This is how I do this trick now. This is how I've done it for years and years. And when I know I'm going to perform, I will put this on early. My friend Bobby Motta had surgery so that he had a magnet implanted into his hand so that he could do this trick and other tricks without having anything on him. I've been tempted to do that, but the implications, the consequences that are unknown at this moment are not worth it, I don't think. Whereas this version, the plaster, is the easiest version for this. So the plaster is going to hide a magnet in our hand. So the plaster is going to be right here with a magnet underneath it. Now the reason a plaster works and the reason why nobody questions and nobody's going to call you out or confront you about this, the social compliance of having a plaster, nobody wants to ask. Nobody's going to go, oh, what happened there then? And even if they do, you can just say, oh, I cut myself. As a magician with a plaster on the hand, if anybody thinks it's suspicious, then they're more than likely a magician or a skeptic to begin with. I've never once in my entire career been questioned as to why I'm wearing a plaster, and I'm sure you haven't either. whenever you're wearing a plaster, whenever you're kind of recovering or healing from something, nobody would ask about plaster. So that, for that reason, the social compliance of it, the psychology of it, that's why this is such a beautiful idea. And I wouldn't have thought too much about it if it wasn't for Michael Weber putting it into my head. And the story comes from the film. If you haven't seen the film Prestige, Christopher Nolan film, Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman, incredible film. For the press release and for Hugh Jackman learning magic, Michael Weber taught him quite a lot of magic, and this is one of the things that he taught him. So on the interviews, you can find interviews of him for that film where he has this metal ball, I think it was used as a bullet, and he put it in his hand and he'd wave his hand over it and it'd vanish, and then he'd wave his hand and it'd go back. This is the secret. Now, before we apply the magnet to the plaster, which is going to stick to our hand, before we do that, it's very important that we find out which way up the magnet is going to go. So, at this moment, this is a very important moment. So pay close attention. The restored piece is going to go in Susan's hand first. It's going to be touching her hand. The next piece is the gimmicked 9 of clubs on top of the restored card, face up. Next, the other 2 pieces, the non-index pieces, are going to go next, one face up, one face down, and then the 9 of clubs, non-gimmick, the final corner, is going to go on top of that, like this. So all of this goes into Susan's hand. This is what you put in Susan's hand. The magnet is going to be attached to our hand here, to our free hand, to my right hand, and that is going to pick up all of these pieces. We need to figure out which way up this magnet goes so that it sticks correctly, so that it attracts the correct way, the positive way to the magnet. So I'm going to drop it on top, and there we go. So now I'm going to square all those up like this, and I'm going to mark the magnet just so that I don't mess up. I'm going to mark the magnet with a dot. I now know that the dot on the magnet needs to be on my hand. So take the plaster, take the pieces off, and we're going to drop the magnet again with that black mark that I just made so that I can see it. And now I'm going to stick this to my hand, to my right hand, over my actual bullet wound. I actually have a real life bullet catch story. I don't know if you can see that, which I'm gonna do this thing called story time with Madison. I'm gonna tell that story pretty soon, but I have a real life bullet catch story. So I'm gonna cover that up with a magnet so that the plaster is right here, magnet's right there. Press that down nice and firm. This is one of those plasters that's kind of stretchy, really good medical grade plaster. It's stuck around all sides so the magnet can't come out, and that's going to be good for all day, you know. And if it gets loose at all, I can just simply get another one and replace it. But by far the stretch plasters are by far the best. Now, because I put the magnet in that way, now if I take these pieces and if I touch the back of them like this, when I lift my hand up now, I'm going to take away everything other than the restored piece. So if you look at my hand now, this is just the restored piece. If you look at my hand, I have all 4 pieces have stuck to my hand because the magnet is here. So the magnet attracts to the magnet in my hand, and it brings the other 3, these are the 3 guys, it brings them along for the ride, right? So if I show you like this, if I put them on the table like so, square them up, I'm just simply going to put my hand on top like this, tap it, and they all come for the ride. So that is basically the method. So we're going to cover up this restored piece with the 4 torn pieces like this. We're going to put it in Susan's hand like this. Notice how they can move around and it looks like 4 pieces, really fair. And then I'm going to demonstrate to her. I'm going to say, put your other hand on top like this so that I can't get to them. And in that moment, I steal those playing cards. So on her journey, when she's putting her other hand on top, I can leave this hand there for a little bit, But ideally, I want to do it quick, but I don't want to rush. I don't want to do this and then come away. I'm not going to pick them up to start with, and it's going to feel strange. I want to give a very gentle tap in a motion where I'm looking at her eyes. We'll go over all this, and I just tap the back, say, put your other hand on top like this. She puts her other hand on top. I've taken the 4 pieces away. While her other hand's on top, I can now step back, and I can ditch these cards in my pocket, and the trick's done. So, with the Raven, when you're using the Raven for this, it causes a lot of complications because we have to have it set up. We have to set it up mid-trick, mid-effect while the trick's happening. We have to set it up, and then we have to do this thing, hand on top, and then let it go. And there's a risk of all 4 cards dropping. This, for me, by far the best method ever. Now, a lot of people will instinctively be saying, well, why don't we just use a PK ring? Why don't we use a magnetic ring? Yes, by all means, I used to do that as well. But I don't wear jewelry, and it'd look weird if all of a sudden I had a ring on. And also, it might draw people to think when I do this that had something to do with it. I don't like all these thoughts, especially because I don't wear jewelry. If you wear jewelry, then by all means PK ring or find a way to stick a magnet to the back of your ring. There are so many other methods as well. There's a whole idea of having the magnet in your sleeve. So if you've got your sleeve down here and the magnet's kind of wrapped to your wrist, you can get your wrist over here and then come back and say put your hand on top. There's quite a lot of different methods. I'm going to carry on teaching in the performance using this and this only. This is what I swear by, this is what I've always done, and this is the way forward. So now that you know the mechanics, now that you know the gimmick and how this works, we need to figure out how we're going to perform this, how we're going to get all these pieces into play, how we're going to lose them, and how we're going to achieve the ultimate effect that is rip. Before we go to the next step, I want to do a really quick recap. So the 4 corners, the gimmick itself, the 4 corners, we're going to take the fully restored playing card. This is going to go first in the hand. The next is the gimmick corner. The magnetized corner goes face up on top. The 2 non-index pieces go next, one face up, one face down. The 9 of clubs non-gimmicked goes face down on top of that. The way that we lined the magnets up, the way that we set everything up, allows these magnets to stick together perfectly. They line up perfectly, and because the 9 of clubs with the magnet is at the very bottom of the pile on top of the restored card, when the magnets connect, all the playing cards, all the pieces above that are going to come along for the ride. So all I have to do, once I put this in Susan's hand, and by the way, she can move it around, the pieces can move, it looks more believable. It feels like it is what it is, those those 4 pieces of a playing card. I take my hand, I put this in her hand, and I say, put your other hand on top, just like this. And in that moment, I steal all of those playing cards. Meanwhile, she puts her other hand on top. We can step away with these pieces, and we can ditch them. We can get rid of them. Meanwhile, Susan's there, stood like this, thinking that she has 4 pieces in her hand, so the rest is down to performance. Now, it's important I give that recap because I know a lot of people might have not paid too much attention. The construction is not over yet. Now, we need to get the main performance from a complete card from a deck. I need to teach you that in order to get you to the main performance that I do, which is I simply approach people with 4 pieces and I say, look, I have a torn playing card. I tried this trick on somebody earlier and it didn't work, so I want to try it again. I want to try it with you. This cuts out all the work. This cuts out all the hard work that's gonna happen right now, which I'm gonna teach you, and it gets straight to the core of it, straight to the point, straight to the impact. A lot of working magicians and a lot of people who perform magic for a living and perform all the time, like me, we don't want to waste time. We want to get to the impact without losing any steam, without losing any credibility. There's nothing worse than a magician wasting time folding playing cards and doing all this and expecting that people have that level of attention. I don't think they do. I think when we're performing magic, we have to bear in mind that the things that are going to stick the most, the things that are going to have the biggest impact, are the things that are direct to the point that we don't have to ask our audience or our participant Susan to think too much about. So for me, this is a beautiful thing. It's vulnerable. It's so vulnerable from the start for us to go up to somebody and say, look, I tried this trick. tore this card up. I thought I could put it back together, but I couldn't. It didn't work. But I want to try it again. Do you want to watch me do it, or do you want to be a part of it? Straight away, we let them know it didn't work. We can't do it. We don't know what's going on. We're also setting them up. We told them what's going to happen. We're very vulnerable. We brought them on the inside because we're telling them what we're going to be doing, and we're telling them what we're going to be trying. Especially with their help. There's no complications. There's no, oh, pick any card. There's no forcing. There's no time wasting. I love this trick just as it is. So for anybody watching, you can end this video right now on this, and this would be the trick. I would hide this corner. I would hold it out, and I would present these 4 playing cards and say, look, 4 pieces, it didn't work, but I want your help. Secretly load the folded card underneath the magnet, and then put the rest on top and say, look, hold your hand out. Look, we have 4 pieces, hold your hand out, and go from there, and then you're done. Straight in, straight out, high impact. However, I know there are a few people who are gonna want to learn the full routine, the full effect, and it's only fair and only right that I give everything, that I give you everything. So this is the deck from my pocket. We've already used 2 9 of clubs. We're gonna use 1 more. How many 9 of clubs have you got? You're gonna have to buy a few decks of playing cards. Luckily in this deck I have 2 9 of clubs. So we need to gimmick another piece. For this trick, we're gonna get rid of these gimmicked pieces already. We're gonna get rid of these. We're not gonna use these. We're gonna use the folded playing card. We're gonna go back to that joker that we tore up, and we're gonna use the opposite index, or the mirror, the symmetrical, the other index. Now this is gonna hide. I stuck my magnets up here, by the way. I'm gonna get 1 more magnet, 1 more, and I'm gonna stick it in the exact same way to the back of that, or to the face of that corner of the joker, and I'm going to stick the magnet right to the middle. Now I need to make sure it's the right way up. So again, I've already got the magnet to my hand, so this is which way up it needs to be. So I'm going to stick it straight down on top. Now I'm going to take my complete 9 of clubs, and I'm going to stick this to the back very carefully, right in place behind the index. Very, very carefully gonna do this so that it doesn't overlap, so it doesn't look too strange from the front. And there we go. So the GoPro can see the corner stuck to the back. From the front, looks like a full card because it is a full card. Now, what does this do that the other version doesn't? This allows us to force this playing card right from the start. We can force the 9 of clubs. Now, because my decks come with duplicates, 2 9 of clubs, I'm golden with this. I can keep this to the bottom, the 9 of clubs, the gimmicked version to the gimmicked card to the bottom, and then I can force the fair 9 of clubs in any way that I choose. There are a few forces on my website. I'll be teaching some more soon, but force that 9 of clubs on your participant, on your audience, the best way you can. Have it return to the deck, or just simply switch it. I mean, once they've picked the card and we know it, we can put the 9 of clubs, the gimmick, we can move it to the top, and then we can just do a simple top change, put the deck down, and we switched over to the gimmick. So I now have the gimmick. Now, as part of the performance in front of my audience, for my audience, I'm going to perform the tearing, the ripping of this very playing card. Because I have the gimmick stuck to the back, this is my guideline. This allows me to perfectly fold and perfectly tear exactly where I need to. So I'm going to fold the card in half perfectly there, and then I'm going to fold it back on itself, and then I'm going to do the same again. At this point, we can fairly, genuinely rip the playing card, tear the playing card. Not only that, we can do something extra special. We can allow our participant to help us do that, so that they can feel the moment of magic, so they can feel a part of it, so they can know 100% sure that this is what I'm saying it is. This is a torn and restored. This is a torn playing card. I don't want to put a gimmick in their hand though. That's quite dangerous. At times I would suggest that you do that, but because I'm very aware of this magnet and I can feel it, I know that my audience would too, I know that my participant would too. So I'm going to rip the card past halfway, like so, and then I'm going to say, Susan, grab the other half, tear it away. Now she's got this half, I've got the gimmick half, and then I'd say, look, do what I do. Tear the card in half down the middle, like this. So now she's gonna do it, and she's become a part of it all of a sudden. So now she takes this and she rips it down the middle. Doesn't matter if it doesn't rip perfectly. It really doesn't matter at this point. Once she's done that, I'm gonna keep them in her hand. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna take the folded up playing card, which is gonna be in my pocket, which is going to be hidden in my belt. It's going to be underneath the deck. Underneath the deck's a great place. So many different places that you can get creative with where you're going to hide this. It's such a small piece, very easy to hide. Let's say it's underneath the deck. So I've torn these two pieces, I put them down. She's got hers in her hand. She's still tearing them, maybe. So I take the deck, move it aside or put it away. It allows me to palm the corner of the restored playing card in my hand. Now that it's in my left hand, I can take the first piece and put it in my hand on top, and then I can start collecting the pieces. So I collect them exactly as I need them to be. So I get a non-index corner face up on top. At this point I can relax my hand because I know that the fully restored card is well hidden. I know that it's hidden under there now. I take the non-index, put it on top, and then I take the final piece off of her, face down on top of that, and I grab all the pieces from above like this so I can squeeze them together. I say, Susan, hold out your hand. We put everything in the middle of our hand in this orientation, like this. Not here, not here, but here, right in the crevice, right in that cleavage, in the valley of our hand. I don't know what word to use. In the ditch of our hand. Don't tell Susan to flatten her hand like this. Don't tell her. We want her hand to be relaxed so it causes that cup that allows those pieces to sit nicely and comfortably without sliding too far apart. Bear in mind everything that's just happened. It's all straightforward. We selected a card, she selected it, we tore it up, she tore it up. We're taking the pieces, putting them in her hand and saying, Susan, take her other hand and put your other hand on top so that I can't get to those pieces. Everything's so fair. She's torn the card that she selected. It's now in her hand, and the most I've done is put it in her hand and say cover it up. Her hand goes over the top. We get rid of the 4 pieces, and we've just had a playing card, apparently fairly freely selected, torn and put in her hand. She opens her hand, finds a restored card. It is a miracle, an absolute miracle. No magic-y stuff going on. No, oh, I carefully do this and it sticks together by using magic glue or whatever magicians say. It's pure magic, and sometimes the best of magic doesn't need us to talk, doesn't need us to tell them what's going on or say, can you feel the moment when it happens? Like, the performance is up to you, the way you perform it at that moment. We'll go over that in a few moments. But now you know the effect. Now you know how this works from a deck, from a gimmick. And now, not only that, you can now take these pieces to your next participant, to your next audience with the restored card and say, I tried this trick where I tore the card up and it didn't work, so I want to try it with you, which leads us to my personal favorite, performance. So now that you know everything about the performance or the execution and construction and delivery of RIP, of RIP, we're going to move to a comfortable angle and I'm going to talk to you about execution, performance, and my personal favorite rendition of RIP. The best thing about RIP for me is the idea I've mentioned a few times already of being vulnerable and going up to your participant and your audience in a state of failure. You drop their guard, psychologically you drop their guard so much to the point where they're going to completely invest in everything that you're saying, everything that you're doing, because you're not going up arrogantly like magicians do and say, I am the magical man MADISON and I am related to Jesus Christ and I will prove it to you by showing you a magic. You know, you're not being that knob, right? You're being a human and you're showing vulnerability, you're showing humanity, you're showing a real individual, a real person. This drops their guard so much so that you can go in and knock them out. When you approach them with these 4 pieces, I used to just hold them up and say, tell me what you see. What is this? and they say, yeah, it's a torn up playing card. What a weird guy. What a strange person. And then I say, hold your hand out. I put them straight in their hand and then do the trick. And all that garbage and all that nonsense and all that noise chopped out, and we go straight in for the kill. What is this? They say it's a torn up playing card. Hold your hand out, cover it up. And then the next thing that happens is restored. It's mind boggling, it melts your mind. If I was to explain every step of the way and present it like, hi, I'm gonna show you something. So I have this playing card's torn up and I'm gonna magically, you're gonna help me magically. It's gonna stick back together magically. You can damage so much about the magic of it. The word magic is in that strangeness, in that mystery, in that what the and the more we can lean towards that, the more we can, I like the line, the more reality you invite into your deception, the more real your deception is going to feel. So we're creating real magic, and that's how you do it. It's not in the trick itself, it's not in the gimmick, it's in your delivery. Your careful delivery, your well thought out delivery will make real magic. So when I go up to somebody and I drop the card and I say, look, I tried this. I'm trying this thing where the card sticks together, where I can kind of make it come back to life. I can make it back normal, but it's not working. Like, maybe I'm gonna try it again. Can you help me? Can you just hold these pieces for me? So they hold their hand out. Yeah, and then inspect when they're in the hand. Just kind of like, yeah, put your other hand on top like this for me. So now you get rid of your pieces and they're like this, and you're like, okay. So one thing that I like to do is this suggestion of something mystical without presenting it as mystical nonsense. So I would stand back a little bit and I'd be rubbing my hands together and I'd be staring at their hands. I'd be eyeballing their hands and not say anything. This is the art of it. This is the performance art of it, of staring at their hands and not saying anything. Put my hand one above, one below, not saying anything, slowly moving them closer, and then all of a sudden there's something snaps me out, something kind of shocks me. I feel something and I don't ask them, did you feel that? I don't suggest, all I do is suggest, I don't say anything. And then I look in them in the eye. At this point, you got to judge the person. You can't say it to everybody, but judge the person. It might be a moment where you say, you felt that, didn't you? Or it's something along those lines. You've got to judge the person. Every single person is going to be different. Every performance that you do is going to be different. But you look them dead in the eye, and then depending on what you're going to say to the individual that you're with, you're going to say, I think it worked. Open your hands. So because this is real, because this really happened, you have to be the one who's impressed, who's shocked that it worked. So from here, from something unknown, something strange that this weird guy's doing, to look him in the eye, you felt that, didn't you? I think it worked, have a look. And when they look, you're gonna lean in, you're not gonna touch anything, but you're gonna lean in to look, and then you're gonna be shocked. Oh God, it worked, finally worked. Now, the less you say at this point, the better. Let it settle in. Even let them keep that piece. And I like the idea of the suggestion of something beyond mystical, something spooky, something voodoo-esque, by when they go to give you that piece back. You'll be like, no, I can't touch that now. I'm not allowed to touch that now. And then leaving. That is messing with somebody's belief in God and the mystic arts and the whole, it brings the deceptive practices to life, it brings magic to life, and that is what magic is. That's where magic lives, that's where magic is delivered in that moment, not in the trick itself, not in the restoration, but in the act of it, the process. And that is why it's important to remove yourself as a magician. You're not a magician. You're a guy who can do these strange things, and sometimes they don't work, and sometimes they do, and sometimes the man himself, the artist himself, is shocked or moved or affected by what he is doing. I like to think at this point I've kind of exhausted everything that I can offer. I want to leave kind of the bringing in and the losing of the fully restored piece. I want to kind of leave that to you, mainly because every single time I do it, it's different. Like sometimes it'll be in my pocket, I'll find a way to bring it back in. Sometimes it'll be under the deck. You know, it's kind of up to you where you hide it. I've seen people hide this piece up their sleeve if you're wearing a sleeve, but it's kind of down to you. Now this is one trick, one deception that I would love to see other people doing and other people playing with. So if you use it, hashtag Daniel Madison. Don't tag me though, I would love to see it. On that note, what a long project this has been, what a long video. Thanks for still being here, thanks for listening. Let's go to the outro. That was Rip. Hope you really enjoyed it. I'm so happy and proud to have Rip as part of my library right here on YouTube. I'm working hard at staying here, at being here at least twice a week, but I need your help. Use the comment section to let me know what you want to see from me. I have so many tricks, so many ideas, so many things I want to teach, but I want to do it in order. I want to do it in a good order at least, and give you what you want to see next. So let me know in the comment section. If you use this or any of my deceptions anywhere online on the social networks, be careful how you tag me, because you don't want to lead your audience to me where they will find the method. However, I do want to see you performing. I do want to see you using my stuff. I want to see you showing me some love and respect. If you use hashtag Daniel Madison, I will find you. I will search for it, I will find you, and I will leave comments on your social posts. I'll be back soon with another smashing tutorial, all I ask in return. Make sure you subscribe so you get the notification bell going ding, 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 every time I drop a new tutorial. I'm Daniel Madison, this was Rip. See you next time.
Now that he's asleep, I can finally show you my trick. I'm gonna make this sausage disappear.
Don't even think about it.
Get off my leg, you bitch!